Good afternoon and welcome to Dooley Health and Care Field in Joliet, Illinois, as we prepare for today's CCAC matchup between the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints and the Crimson Wave of Calumet College of St. Joseph. Today's a home game for Calumet. They had to move it over here to St. Francis's home field due to some of the weather that we've had in the Chicagoland area recently, and of course the artificial turf field here makes things a little bit easier. So Calumet takes the field first, and I'll give you the lineup for the visiting St. Francis Fighting Saints. Leading off will be first baseman Nate Maliska. Jake Vera bats second and plays left field. Luke Ketchum hits third. Ketchum plays center. Eric Maffey is the cleanup batter and right fielder. Batting fifth, shortstop Brian Hidalgo. John McGuire is at second base. Hector Carrillo bats seventh and plays third. Alex Milcars is the designated hitter. And batting ninth, catcher Jake Murda. The starting pitcher for the Fighting Saints today will be Jacob Jerka. Now let's take a look at the team that is visiting today, but the home team on the scoreboard, Calumet College of St. Joseph. Leading things off for the Crimson Wave is left fielder Sean Moore. Batting second, center fielder Darius Little. Nicholas Anderson hits third. Anderson is the DH. Batting fourth and playing third base, Michael Machnik. Gabriel Quinones is the right fielder. Hitting sixth, first baseman Bubba Davenport. Joseph Selby hits seventh at shortstop. The catcher is Jacob St. Marie. And batting ninth, second baseman Maury Garrett Jr. The starting pitcher for the Crimson Wave today is Zach Ziborowski. Ziborowski is making his sixth appearance of the season. It's his fourth start, 0-2 with a 16.78 ERA in 12 and a third innings pitched. Ziborowski has allowed 24 runs, 23 of them earned on 24 hits, with 9 strikeouts and 11 walks. Opponents are hitting .393 against him this year. We're ready to go here, and the first pitch of the ball game, lefty to lefty, is over for strike one. We're underway at 2:32 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make that Central Daylight Time. 0-1 on Nate Maliska. The freshman first baseman leading things off for the Fighting Saints. Ziborowski's next pitch misses low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nate Maliska is a .321 hitter. He has slid into the starting lineup more often than not of late. It is his 16th start in 28 games total played by the Saints this year. The 1-1 swung on and grounded weakly to the right side, grabbed by the second baseman Garrett, and his toss to first is in time for the first out. 1 up, 1 down. That'll bring up Jake Vera. Vera's a .272 hitter with a homer and 10 runs batted in this year. Third leading hitter on the team so far this season. St. Francis got off to a hot start offensively this year, playing in warmer climates. The bats have slowed down since coming back north, fouled back by Vera, strike one. And never was that more evident than right here on Friday against Calumet St. Joseph, when the Saints were held to just 3 total runs in 2 games. Fouled away, 0-2. And one of those games was a 7-inning no-hitter. So today they look to get the offense sparked a little bit earlier. 1 out, nobody on in the top of the first inning. 0-2 on Jake Vera. Next pitch is taken high for ball 1. Ziborowski has had his struggles this year. St. Francis is hoping to take advantage of that. Senior left-hander from Valparaiso. He's playing for his 3rd college. Called strike 3. That paints the outside corner. Vera goes down looking. 2 away for Ziborowski. That's the 10th strikeout in 13 innings pitched this season. And he'll get to face Luke Ketchum with nobody on the bases. No score, just underway here. Luke Ketchum leads the Saints with a .366 batting average. 4 homers, 15 RBIs, a right-handed hitter. And the first toss to him is swung on and missed. Zebrowski actually started his college career right down the street at Joliet Junior College. And he went to Division III Wisconsin Whitewater before settling with Calumet as that ball is flown into shallow left center field. Little and Moore both come in. Darius Little, the center fielder, makes the catch and ends the inning. No punch from the Fighting Saints in the top of the first as they go down 1-2-3 against Zach Zebrowski. We'll head to the bottom of the first inning. Calumet comes to bat in a scoreless tie. Bottom of the first inning. Calumet comes to bat for the first time. Moore, Little, and Anderson set to bat first. Matchnick, Quinones, Davenport, Selby, St. Marie, and Garrett make up the rest of the lineup, facing freshman right-hander Jake Jerka, who today makes just his second collegiate start. It's his 10th appearance. 1-1 with 11.65 ERA this year. First pitch of the ball game comes in low for ball one on Sean Moore. Jerka has thrown 17 innings coming into today's game. He's allowed 23 runs, all but one of them earned on 27 hits. He has struck out 14 and walked 11, and he falls behind Sean Moore, 2 balls and no strikes. Moore is the left fielder for Calumet St. Joe's. He's a .400 hitter, 30 for 75 at the plate. He's taken one out of the park, and he's driven in 14 runs. He takes outside once again, 3-0 now from the freshman out of Lincoln Way West High School, Jerka, to start today's game. Darius Little stands on deck. Sean Moore's got good speed. You don't want to put him aboard to start the game. And Jerka comes back at him with a strike here to get himself back into the at-bat, 3-1. Right-hander pitches out of the stretch and fires a strike over the outside corner. The count goes full. Started him out 3-0. Jerka's gotten himself back into it. Moore has taken 5 consecutive pitches. Now in the full count offering, he swings and grounds it up the middle and out to center field. So he does find his way aboard to start today's ball game, at least the home part of it. Moore has a leadoff single for Calumet, and we've got the game's first base runner. Sean Moore leads the team with 7 stolen bases this year in 9 attempts. So Jerka will have to keep an eye on him as Darius Little steps in, right-handed hitting center fielder. First pitch to Little, over for a strike. So after 3 straight balls to start the game, Jerka has thrown 4 straight strikes, so he's at least straightened that out. Little, another tough out, .319 batting average, a homer, 16 RBIs this year. His on-base percentage is an impressive .448. Moore takes off, swing, and a ground ball to the shortstop in the hole, sliding stop. Hidalgo, he's got no play. It's an infield hit for Darius Little. Sean Moore slides into second base safely. And there are 2 on with nobody out. And a chance for Nicholas Anderson to drive in some runs here. Good play by Hidalgo to keep that on the infield. Moore was running with the pitch, so if it had gotten through to left field, there's a chance he would have made it to third. Since he was running on the pitch, there was no opportunity to even think about getting the force at second base. Hidalgo's only chance was to think about going to first. Didn't have a play there either. So back-to-back singles for Moore and Little. Now Anderson drops a bunt down the third base line, but it's a foul ball, strike 1. Nicholas Anderson is hitting .320 with a home run and a team best 25 RBIs this year. He does not have a sacrifice to his credit. The Crimson Wave are trying to give him one right here. First pitch was bunted foul, 0-1. Nate Maliska is playing way in over at first base. Hector Carrillo just in front of the bag at third. Pickoff throw to second. Nobody's covering second. And Moore stays put. Miscommunication there between Jerka and his middle infielders. He turned around and fired to second base, and there was nobody within 20 feet of the ball. But nice job by Luke Ketchum to come in from center field to back that play up. Since Moore had dove back to the bag, there was no chance for him to advance to third base. So no harm, no foul. Still 0-1 on Anderson. Swinging away here. He grounds it foul past third base. 0-2. That'll back the infielders up, I would imagine. Nate Maliska was standing right on top of him on that 0-1 pitch. Could have been dangerous. The ball had been hit his direction. Anderson pulled the bat back and hit another foul ball down the third base line. The first 2 pitches have both been fouls to third. There's a line drive out to left field. Taking one step back, Jake Vera makes the catch. And the runners hold their ground. 1 away. Big first out recorded there by Jake Jerka. First and second, nobody out. He was in some big trouble. Still is in trouble, but with 1 out in the inning now and a force at all 3 bases, he could potentially get out of the inning with a ground ball. He's got to get through the third baseman, Michael Matchnick. Matchnick takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. He's a .223 hitter this season. He's got 1 homer. Hasn't put up big offensive numbers, but he is second on the team with 16 RBIs. He takes outside, 2-0. Single line out. That's the story of the inning so far. Calumet has Jake Jerka on the ropes, trying to strike for an early lead. 2-0 pitch. Outside, ball 3. Second 3-0 count that a Crimson Wave hitter has seen here in this first inning. Gabriel Quinones waits on deck. He'll come up potentially with the bases loaded. Fastball right down the middle. 3-1 now. After falling behind Moore 3-0, Jerko was able to come back and work the count full before Moore singled out to center field. It's 3-1 on Michael Matchnick. Check swing. He went around. Strike 2. Couldn't commit to it on the 3-1 pitch. Typically, as a hitter, you're going to be sitting on something. You don't like to get fooled like that on a position where you're able to take a big swing based on the count. Now he's got to be a little bit more choosy with 2 strikes as he fouls this one away. Still 3-2. Long first inning for Jake Jerka. He's already approaching 20 pitches for the inning, with just 1 out having been recorded, but Calumet hasn't scored yet. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and there are 2 down. Huge strikeout for Jerka. Back-to-back outs recorded, and now if he can get through Quinones, he'll put a 0 on the scoreboard. First strikeout of the game for the young righty. It's up to Quinones to get at least one of these runs in. .293 hitter. He's got 12 RBIs. Left-handed hitting bat. First pitch to Quinones, misses outside, ball one. Jerka falls behind another Crimson Wave hitter. So far, everybody he's fallen behind, he's been able to get back into the at-bat with. This is just a 1-0 count. There's a high fly ball out to right field. Maffey tracks it back a few paces, and Eric Maffey makes the catch well in front of the warning track. The inning is over. Despite back-to-back hits with 2 runners on, nobody out, Calumet does not score. We'll head to the second inning. 0-0 so far. Top of the second inning. Neither team scored in the first. Very different innings. It was pretty easy going for Zach Ziborowski. 1-2-3 was not threatened at all in the top of the first. And then in the bottom of the first inning, Jake Jerka ran into some problems. 2 on, nobody out, but he was able to pitch out of it. And so the result was the same. Zeros on the scoreboard, both top and bottom. And now in the second, Eric Maffey leads off by taking ball one. Maffey playing right field once again for the Fighting Saints. A .352 hitter. Swings and pops it foul to the right side, out of play. That evens things up, 1-1. Maffey leads the team with 8 home runs, 23 RBIs. This time he bats with nobody on base. Brian Hidalgo is on deck. John McGuire will follow. That ball is flown into shallow right down the line, chasing it towards foul territory with room to make the catch. Gabriel Quinones puts away Maffey. The ball did ultimately drift over the line and into foul ground, so it's a foul out for Maffey. 4 up, 4 down against Zach Ziborowski. Here's Brian Hidalgo. Hidalgo did not open the season as the starting shortstop for St. Francis. He's taken over that role, though, with a .333 batting average. 16 runs knocked in, ranks second on the team. He swings at the first pitch and grounds it right to the shortstop. Joseph Selby fires to first. It's a low throw, and it gets away from Davenport. So Hidalgo is safe at first base. That'll be an error on the shortstop, Selby. And the Saints will take it any way they can get aboard. It's their first base runner of the game after 4 consecutive men had been retired. And now John McGuire gets a chance to deliver a little payoff for that error. McGuire is a .260 hitter, second baseman and sometimes pitcher, has 1 home run and 12 RBIs this year as well. He started 5 games on the mound, which is 3rd most on the team. First pitch to McGuire is taken for strike 1. Short lead over at first for Hidalgo. The lefty Zaborowski deals, and McGuire fouls it off to the right side, 0-2. No runs, no hits, no errors for St. Francis. 0-2-1 for Calumet now after the error set up a potential rally for St. Francis, fouled off by McGuire. He does a good job keeping at bats alive with 2-strike foul balls. He does it right there to keep the count at 0-2. Ball one outside. 1-2 now on McGuire. Hector Carrillo waits on deck. Zaborowski trying to get a ground ball to get himself out of the inning. Breaking ball up and away, 2-2. Good at bat so far for McGuire. Zaborowski had been cruising, even with the runner on base now on the air. Every one of these at-bats had gone by quickly. He threw just 13 pitches combined to the first 5 batters. The 6th to McGuire is a ground ball, but it's out of the reach of a diving Maury Garrett. Base hit into right field for McGuire. Hidalgo advances to second base. And there are 2 on with 1 out as the Saints threaten for the first time today. That's their first hit of the game. And it was very close to what Zaborowski wanted. He was trying to get a ground ball. He got that grounder, but hit a little bit too sharply and just to the left of Maury Garrett, who laid out for it and came up just short. Hidalgo at second, McGuire at first. RBI chance for Hector Carrillo. A shortstop, a .250 hitter, third baseman rather. 3 extra base hits, 9 RBIs so far. Carrillo takes a breaker outside, 1-0. Zaborowski hasn't fallen behind too many guys today. Came in having walked 11 batters in 12 1/3 innings. So command has been a major problem for him over the course of the season. Ball downstairs, 2-0. But he was pounding the strike zone the first inning plus today. Not as much lately as he falls behind a hitter here. 2-0. Hidalgo at second, McGuire at first, Carrillo in the box. Alex Milcars is on deck. Chopper to third base, played on 2 hops by Matchnick. He throws to second for 1. The relay throw is not in time. Nice job by Davenport to knock that ball down. It was just hit way too softly. The play developed way too slowly to turn 2. But the throw from second baseman Maury Garrett was down low, and if Davenport had tried to reach and make the catch, it's probably a run for St. Francis. The ball would likely have gotten by him. Instead, he threw his body in front of it like a hockey goalie, knocked the ball loose, and kept Hidalgo over at third base. So he's there, Carrillo's at first, McGuire is out. 2 down, and Alex Milcars will try to play the clutch card here in the top of the second. Looking for a 2-out RBI hit. The sophomore Milcars takes ball 1. Milcars this season is hitting .231. He takes a slow breaking ball high, 2-0. 4 RBIs so far this season. Trying to pick up number 5 right here with a man at third base, but you'd think he would need a hit. He's got a hitter's count. Swings and fouls it off to the right side, out of play. 2-1. Sparse crowd on a Monday afternoon for an unscheduled game. This one was originally supposed to have been played yesterday, or at least most recently it was scheduled to be played yesterday, maybe not originally. It's hard to keep track of when these games are supposed to be played. Runner on the move, the 2-1 pitch in the dirt. 3-1 on Milcars. Hector Carrillo steals second base without a throw. On a pitch in the dirt that Jacob St. Marie had to drop to his knees to block. There was no chance he was going to make a throw down to second. So Carrillo steals it uncontested, and now A 3-1 count on Milkars, who could load the bases or could knock in a couple of runs. He grounds it to the shortstop. Selby gloves, throws to first in the dirt. Davenport can't dig it out, and a run comes in to score. 1-0. St. Francis takes the lead as Alex Milkars reaches on what I imagine will be the second error of the inning on Joseph Selby. And this one probably even more routine than the last one. Not a good throw at all. Davenport did have a chance to catch it this time instead of just knocking it down, but he couldn't stick it in the glove. So no RBI for Milkars, but the Saints will take the run just the same. 1-0 they lead here in the second. And the number 9 batter and catcher, Jake Murda, takes strike one. Runners still at the corners. Still only one hit this inning for St. Francis, but thanks to 2 errors, they're on the board and leading. The 0-1. Runner goes, pitches a called strike. No throw down to second. Milkars just kind of jogged into second base. Jacob St. Marie wasn't looking to throw him out at all, paying no attention to the base runner. Could turn out not to be an issue, but it could mean 2 runs score for St. Francis on a base hit. The 0-2 from Zborowski. High ball 1. After throwing just 9 pitches in the first inning, Zborowski has had to work considerably harder here in the second. This will be number 22 to leave his hand. Fouled off to the right side in front of the St. Francis dugout. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zborowski is a guy who doesn't go too deep into his ball games. In 5 appearances, he averages just over 2 innings pitched each one. So he's a guy that you don't want to work too big a pitch count if you're in the Calumet St. Joe's dugout. Popped up foul and out of play. Murda stays alive. Jake Murda doesn't play a lot. This is just his 6th start this year. He is 1 for 13 at the plate. Typically the catcher's job belongs to Jake Lasota. He has struggled offensively. Murda gets the call today, and he takes a ball high, 2-2. So he'll see a 7th pitch. Hector Carrillo is the man at third, representing the potential second run of the game. 2-2. Ground ball right side. Davenport makes the backhanded stop. He carries it to the bag and ends the inning. 3 unassisted to wrap up the top of the second, and St. Francis leaves them at the corners. But they score a run on 1 hit, 2 errors, and as we head to the bottom of the second, St. Francis holds a 1-0 lead. It's the bottom of the second inning. Calumet St. Joe's operating as the home team today. Comes to bat chasing a run. An unearned run scored against Zborowski in the top of the second. So now the Crimson Wave try to get it back with Bubba Davenport taking ball one low. Davenport made a name for himself on this field a few days ago, throwing the no-hitter in the 7-inning game one of the doubleheaders. Davenport takes a strike, 1-1. Typically, though, he's been a little bit more prolific as an offensive player, hitting .281 this year, 1 home run, 13 RBIs. The 1-1 pitch from Jerka misses outside, 2-1. It's an interesting battery for St. Francis today. Jake Jerka's throwing to Jake Murda. I feel like it'd be easy to get confused. Fly ball into center field. I am always easily confused. Luke Ketchum backs up, makes the grab. 1 away. Good start to the inning as the leadoff man is retired. That's 4 in a row for the freshman Jerka after the first 2 batters reached. And now it's the number 7 hitter, Joseph Selby. Selby's hitting .375 with 3 RBIs. Limited action so far this year. He's played in only half of Calumet's games. But he's swung the bat well when he's been out there as he takes strike 1. And he's trying to make up a little bit offensively for some of the defensive mistakes. He committed 2 errors in the top half of this inning that led to the run scoring. Strike called, 0-2. Jerka's doing a good job of throwing strikes early in this game, trying to put away Joseph Selby for the second out of the inning. In the dirt, blocked by Murda. It's 1-2. Jacob St. Marie is in the on-deck circle. Jerka trying to face him with nobody on base. It's a bouncer to the right side and out of the reach of a diving Nate Maliska. That's a single into right field, and Calumet's got their 3rd hit of the ball game. All 3 of the hits have been relatively soft singles, all of them on the ground. 2 of them, including that base hit for Selby, have been of the seeing eye variety, just finding the right holes on the infield. The other, off the bat of Darius Little, was a hard grounder, but it was played by Brian Hidalgo, who made a diving stop but couldn't make a throw. Strike 1 called on St. Marie. The catcher for Calumet St. Joseph is hitting .267, 2 RBIs this year. He lines it sharply out to center field. There's a hard hit base hit. Advancing Selby to second base. St. Marie stands at first. Second straight inning for the Crimson Wave in which they've had back-to-back singles. They were not able to turn those into any runs in the first inning. We'll see if this time is any different. Bottom of the order here, it's Maury Garrett, the second baseman. We've also got a pinch runner over at first base. We'll call him a courtesy runner. The catcher goes back to get his equipment back on. Nino Barbosa does the running over at first base. Maury Garrett is a right-handed hitting infielder. He swings the first pitch and he lobs it down the right field line for a base hit. Joseph Selby comes around third base. The throw comes to the plate. Selby is safe. St. Marie takes third base, and they are at the corners with 1 run across. Tie ball game. After Jerka got the leadoff man out this inning to make it 4 batters in a row retired, he has allowed 3 consecutive hits, singles for Selby, St. Marie, and Garrett. Last 2 have been harder hit balls. And there are still runners at the corners with only 1 out as we move back to the top of the order. And Sean Moore. Tapper foul, strike 1. The RBI for Maury Garrett is his 8th this year. Each team has now scored in the second inning. Moore takes high, ball 1. Sean Moore led off the bottom of the first inning with a single out to center field. If he can pull that one off again, he'll give his team their first lead today. 1-1. Strike called, 1-2. Jerka's got 1 strikeout so far today. As he looks for his second, he misses high on Moore, 2-2. This will be a good opportunity for a K. Ground ball, of course, could get him out of the inning, but the ground balls have all seemed to have eyes for Calumet so far. That one in the air, but it's out of play, 2-2. Furthermore, Moore runs well. So you'd run the risk of not being able to turn 2 and let this run in from third. Still very early in this game, so going down by a run wouldn't be the end of the world. Fly ball out to left field. Long run, Jake Vera chasing it towards the foul line, and that ball is out of play in foul territory. Still 2-2. Moore has seen 6 pitches so far in this at-bat. Tough out. He reaches base well over 50% of the time. His on-base percentage is .521 this year. He's about to see a 7th pitch, trying to either get a run in or load the bases. Ground ball right side through the hole. That'll be an RBI hit for Moore as St. Marie crosses the plate. Garrett stops at second base. 2-1 Calumet on 4 consecutive hits. For Sean Moore, the 15th RBI this year. Here's Darius Little. Things have spiraled downhill very quickly for Jacob Jerka. Darius Little takes strike 1. He's allowed 4 consecutive hits. They've all been singles, but you string them together, those singles look pretty good. Ground ball up the middle. Hidalgo dives from the shortstop's position, makes the stop, but doesn't have a play. Everybody is safe and the bases are loaded. It looked like Hidalgo there wanted to flip it with his glove straight up to the second baseman, John McGuire, covering the bag. But he couldn't do it. Whether or not he had time to reach into his mitt and flip with the bare hand is hard to tell. So bases full. Already a 1-run lead for Calumet. And only 1 out this inning as Nicholas Anderson takes ball 1. Anderson is 0 for 1 with a line out to left. He hits a tapper back to the mound. The throw comes home, and Jerka gets the out there, 1-2 on the fielder's choice. Everybody else moves up. Anderson is safe at first. Little takes second base. Moore is now at third. Maury Garrett thrown out at the plate on that. Here's Michael Matchnick swinging through strike 1. 2 runs are in the bottom of the second. The Crimson Wave have taken the lead. But St. Francis is in position to take a little momentum back if they can get it out here. Strike called, 0-2. And that's because Calumet is on the verge of running away with this game. Already 2 runs in, bases loaded now. Big hit from any of these guys really turns things around. Popped foul and out of play, still 0-2. Maybe not turns it around so much as keeps it on the same path. The turnaround would be if St. Francis is able to get the out. Good pitcher's count here. 0-2. Jerka tries to put him away. It's a high fly ball into center field. Moving over to his left a little bit, Luke Ketchum shields his eyes from the sun and makes the catch to end the inning. At one point in the second, Calumet nets 5 consecutive singles. That gives them 2 runs and a 2-1 lead as we head to the third. It's the top of the third inning. St. Francis has some work in front of them. They led 1-0 after the top of the second, but Calumet St. Joe's immediately answered with a 2 spot in the bottom of the frame. And now the top of the order will try to get the Saints offense back on track. Nate Maliska leads things off. Takes a slow breaking ball over for a strike. Maliska, Vera, and Ketchum. The top of the order are due up for Brian Mahalick's Fighting Saints. The 0-1. Check swing on a ball that clearly missed. Count evens 1-1. Nate Maliska grounded out to second base his first time up. He's 0 for 1. St. Francis got all of their offense today in one short burst. Strike called on Maliska, 1-2. 3 out of 4 guys reached base in the second inning during one stretch. And they got one in as a result. There's another check swing. On appeal, he went around. Tough call from the first base umpire, but Nate Maliska is out number 1. Brian Mahalick will come in and argue this call. He was standing in the third base coach's box, so he had a much better view of it than the umpire who called it. I'll say that from where I'm sitting, behind home plate, it looked to my vantage point as though he did go around, but it's a really hard call to make when you're appealing down to first base on a left-handed hitter. In any case, Maliska had a hard time with that at bat. Swung at a couple of pitches out of the zone, and now he is the first out. As Jake Vera comes up, bunts at the first pitch, a good bunt to the right side, and no play for anybody. That'll be an infield single for Jake Vera. Second hit of the ball game for the Fighting Saints. It's a fine line between a great bunt and a terrible bunt. If you bunt it back to the pitcher, you're asking for trouble. If you push it just to the right of the pitcher from our vantage point, it makes it impossible for him to get and way too shallow for the second baseman to come in and make a play on. So Vera's aboard. Here's Luke Ketchum. Line drive on the first pitch out to center field. It drops in front of Darius Little. And that's back-to-back hits for the Fighting Saints. Vera's at second. Ketchum is at first. Eric Maffey will hit. Maffey is 0 for 1. He flew out to his counterpart in right field, leading off the second inning. This time he gets to bat with runners on. First and second, only one out. And the best run producer on the team is at the plate. First pitch from Zach Ziborowski. Swung on and missed. Strike one. Three hits now for St. Francis, including 2 in a row. Calumet's already got 7 of them. Check swing. And this time they appeal to the same umpire in a different position. He says no swing. 1-1. There are only 2 umpires out there, so you want to appeal, you just have to ask the field umpire wherever he's standing at the time. Oddly enough, this time standing in the first base coach's box would give him a really good angle. One and one. Downstairs, ball 2. It's Ketchum at first, Vera at second. Couple of big table setters for St. Francis this year. Ketchum is second on the team with 22 runs scored. He'd like to make it 23 here. Maffey chops it to third base. That's a fair ball. Picked up by Matchnick, who steps on the bag, throws it across the diamond, and can't get the double play. So Maffey is safe at first. Ketchum advances to second base. Jake Vera is retired, 5 unassisted. Brian Hidalgo, the shortstop, is 0 for 1, but he has scored the only St. Francis run so far today. He reached on an error his last time up. Eventually came around to score. Big cut and a miss. He was swinging for the fences there. Not able to make contact. Now a visit on the mound before we continue. Nobody is throwing in Calumet's bullpen right now. It was a very, very quick discussion, whatever it was. Now the catcher's got a few more words for Zach Ziborowski. Home plate umpire comes out to break up that meeting. It's 0-1 on Brian Hidalgo. Hidalgo is the 5th batter of the inning. 2 of the previous 4 reached base. Still just the top of the 3rd inning here. Very slow-moving game to get things started. 0-1 from Ziborowski. Line drive right side and over the head of Maury Garrett. A base hit. A run comes in to score here, and we are knotted up at 2. First and third. 2 outs, and Brian Hidalgo comes up with the clutch hit to give him 17 RBIs for the year. Maffey's now at third. Ketchum scored on the play. Here's John McGuire. Ball 1 outside. Tie game. Each team is hitting now. Neither side scored in the first. There has not been a 0 on the board since. Hard grounder out to left field. A base hit for John McGuire, and another run scores for St. Francis. This time McGuire knocks home Eric Maffey. And for the second time today, the Fighting Saints have the lead. Here's Hector Carrillo with a chance to give St. Francis a multi-run lead. They scored 1 in the second, now 2 in the third. Calumet scored 2 in the bottom of the second inning. Hector Carrillo's got 2 men on base for him. Time called. Zaborowski taking a long time between pitches. He's been doing a lot of that lately. He's really been thrown out of his rhythm. No question, hasn't looked like the same pitcher the last 2 innings that he did in the first. I don't know which one is the more true Zaborowski, but he started great. He's been struggling. Breaking ball misses for a ball, 1-0. Hector Carrillo reached on a fielder's choice, stole a base in the second inning, and was stranded then at second base. That's taken over the inside corner, 1-1. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. We saw a sequence last inning for Calumet in which they had 5 straight base hits. St. Francis is at 4 of their last 5 batters, having reached on singles. Foul back, 1-2 now. Carrillo is the 7th batter of this inning. It's been over a half an hour since the top of the third started. So it has been a very long third inning. Grounded foul, it'll get a little bit longer. Carrillo trying to keep the party going for the Fighting Saints. Lefty pitcher versus righty hitter, 2 runners on base. He steps off the rubber. Time is now called by Carrillo. McGuire's at first, Hidalgo's at second. Both men picked up RBI singles moments ago. Finally, here comes another 1-2. Sharp liner right at the third baseman. Matchnick makes the grab and ends the inning. 2 runs score on 4 hits. St. Francis leaves 2. We go to the bottom of the third inning, 3-2 Saints. Bottom 3, the lead has gone back and forth early in this game. Calumet will try to keep that going as they try to score for a second consecutive inning. Gabriel Quinones fouls the first pitch off the screen over his own team's dugout. Strike 1. Calumet in their maroonish jerseys sits on the third base side. Ball outside, 1-1. Technically, I guess it's the visiting dugout just because the first base side is St. Francis's dugout and they're the home team. But Calumet, or this is their home ballpark, I should say. Calumet is the home team in today's game. Ball high from Jerka, 2-1. Jerka has danced around trouble all game so far Has only allowed 2 runs, though. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Quinones. He hasn't walked anybody yet. That's contributed to the fact that he's allowed only 2 runs. 7 hits for Calumet so far, but just 7 total base runners. There's a tapper back to the mound. Gloved by Jerka on one hop. He flips it underhand over to first for the out. Leadoff man retired for the 2nd consecutive inning. And now he'll try to make it 4 in a row as he goes up against Bubba Davenport. Davenport is 0 for 1. He flew to center field when he led off the 2nd inning. This is the 2nd time today that Jerka has retired 4 in a row. See if he can make it 5 straight this time as he throws strike 1 to Davenport. Next pitch misses for a ball, and the count evens at 1-1. Bubba Davenport, 6'4" tall. Takes the ball inside, 2-1. He's in his senior year for Calumet out of Griffith, Indiana. Takes a strike over the outer edge, 2-2. Calumet came into play today with an overall record of 10-18. Just below the knees, the count goes full. Crimson Wave just a little bit better than the Fighting Saints so far. The Saints are 8-19, but in the more important record category, St. Francis is a little bit ahead of Calumet. There's a hard grounder to the right side, knocked down on the backhand by second baseman John McGuire. His throw to first is not in time. So an infield single for Davenport. And a 1-out base runner for Calumet. That's their 8th hit of the game. They've all been singles. It's another part of the reason they've only scored 2 runs so far. Just the same, Jerka would rather not see such a steady parade of base runners. Joseph Selby steps in, flies the first pitch down the right field line. That's a foul ball, strike 1. Selby's 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored. We're only in the 3rd inning. And almost everybody in Calumet's lineup has been on base. 7 out of 9 have been on base. 6 out of the 9 have a hit. And 2 guys already have 2 hits. And yet they're losing. Strike called, 0-2. It has been a very offensive game so far. 12 total hits between the 2 teams. But they've all been singles. The 0-2. Grounded back to the pitcher. Jerka fires to second for 1. McGuire's throw to first is in time for an inning-ending double play. 1, 4, 3. And Calumet is out in the bottom of the 3rd. We've played 3 complete now. St. Francis leads Calumet St. Joe's 3-2. After 3 innings, it's 3-2 St. Francis over Calumet St. Joe's. Alex Milcars will lead off the 4th inning for the Saints. He'll be followed by Murda and Maliska, the 8-9-1 batters, due to face Zach Ziborowski, whose first pitch misses for ball 1. Ziborowski has struggled through 3 innings. He's allowed 3 runs, only 2 of them earned on 5 hits. Ground ball to the shortstop, gobbled up by Joseph Selby. The throw to first is in time. First successful assist for Selby today. It's the 3rd ball that's been hit to him. The other 2 both turned into errors when he threw the ball away. So he gets back on the horse here. Leadoff man retired for the 4th consecutive inning by Ziborowski. Here's Jake Murda. Murda's 0 for 1 with a ground out. He takes ball 1 below the knees. Mentioned last inning that Calumet's got a better overall record than St. Francis, but the Fighting Saints are still in better position standings-wise. They've got a better conference record, 3-3, to Calumet's 2-5. Ball inside, 2-0. These single games are big for the Saints because they've been splitting all their doubleheaders, including one against the Crimson Wave on Friday. So if they want to pull above 500, they can keep splitting all they'd like in the doubleheaders and win the single games. They'll be in really good shape. Ball high, 3-0 on Murda. Tomorrow, the Saints have another single contest. They'll take on the Cougars of St. Xavier. Second time this year they'll have met. Ball 4 outside, a 4-pitch walk issued by Ziborowski, and Murda is aboard with 1 out. First walk issued by either pitcher today. We have seen 16 total base runners through 3+ innings, but this is the first one to reach on balls. 3rd time through the batting order now. Here's Nate Maliska. 0 for 2. He has grounded out and struck out. The game against St. Xavier tomorrow, as I was saying, will be the 2nd meeting this year between the Saints and the Cougars. They played a doubleheader here earlier this month. Ball 1 outside on Maliska. And that was naturally a split. St. Francis then is back home on Friday against Roosevelt for another single game. So they've got 3 in a row that are not doubleheaders, and then Saturday they're on the road in Crestwood to take on Roosevelt in an away doubleheader. Those have been rare. Strike called on Maliska, 1-1. Not just road doubleheaders, but road games. Everything has been moved here for St. Francis for the most part over the last month because of the artificial turf field. 1-1. Strike call, 1-2. Roosevelt also plays on artificial turf, so that Saturday doubleheader is not likely to be moved here. 1 on, 1 out. 1-2 count on Maliska. Pickoff throw to first. The runner takes off. Throw down to second, and he's out. Montgomery took off a little bit too quickly, and he is caught stealing 1-3-6. Matt Montgomery, the courtesy runner for Jake Murda, is out number 2, and the count is 1-2 on Maliska. So all of a sudden, Ziborowski's in really good shape to get out of this inning quickly. Ground ball to the shortstop. Another chance for Selby. Selby's throw is low again. This time Davenport stretches and makes the play on the short hop. Selby's throws are not doing Davenport any favors today, but this time the first baseman able to make the play and retire the side. So what looked like a potential run-scoring opportunity for St. Francis turns into essentially a 1-2-3 frame. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. 3-2 Saints. bottom of the fourth inning. 3-2 St. Francis leads Calumet St. Joe's. 8-9-1 coming up for the Crimson Wave. That's Jacob St. Marie and Maury Garrett. Before we roll back around to the top of the batting order, St. Marie takes ball one low from Jake Jerka. Jerka's had an up and down game so far. He's given up a lot of hits, but he's also pitched out of a lot of trouble. Strike called, 1-1. Crimson Wave have stranded 5 base runners already. All of those in the first 2 innings. Strike 2 called on St. Marie. He's 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored. Jerka has settled in nicely over the last inning plus. Trying to start this one off strong, but a little flare out to right field, drops in for a base hit. And the catcher, Jacob St. Marie, is 2 for 2. Leadoff man reaches for the second time today for Calumet. That is their 9th hit. Prior to that, the last 5 batters had all been retired. One of those 5 actually did get a hit, and he was out on a double play. But once again, Jerka has to work with a man on. First pitch to Maury Garrett is bunted foul to the first base side. Strike 1. Maury Garrett Jr., 1 for 1 so far today with an RBI single. Both of Calumet's runs came in the second inning. They had 5 consecutive hits in that inning. And yet they were only able to manage 2 runs. Another bunt from Garrett. He pulls the bat back this time and takes a ball inside. The count is even at 1. Both teams have already had action going in their bullpens. Both starters, though, still alive. Calumet's bullpen is currently empty. Bunted foul once again, 1-2. They had somebody warming up last inning, but Zborowski got out of the frame, so I'd expect to see him again for the 5th. He ended up having a very quick top half of the 4th. Jerka continues to flirt with danger. Trying to pitch around the leadoff single here. There's a fly ball into shallow center. Luke Ketchum shields his eyes from the sun and makes the catch. St. Marie stays at first. Maury Garrett is retired. 1 away. Sean Mahalik, the guy warming up in the bullpen right now for St. Francis. It's been a laborious day so far for Jacob Jerka. Pitch count's getting up there. So even if he does get through this 4th inning, his day may be nearing an end. Moore swings to the first pitch, pops it up, foul ground left side. Looks to be playable for Carrillo. It keeps drifting, and ultimately it is not playable. It lands on the berm down the left field line. Wind is blowing in from right field today, so I think that contributed to the ball floating out of bounds, out of play there. It looked off the bat like it was going to be catchable. And then it just kept drifting and drifting, landed maybe 5 feet beyond the fence. 0-1 on Moore, who has not been retired yet today. Sean Moore is 2 for 2 with a couple of singles and an RBI. Another foul ball here. This one unquestionably going out of play. 0-2. Big at bat here with 1 out. Already a man on base, and Jerka's had his problems with Moore so far. Another foul ball. Most pitchers have had problems with Sean Moore this year. He has worked the count in all 3 of his at-bats today. There's a one-hopper back to the mound. Jerka fires to second for 1. The relay pulls Maliska off the bag. So Moore is safe at first base. It's a fielder's choice. 1-6. And so the inning will continue for Calumet as they try to tie this one back up or reclaim the lead. Darius Little is the batter. Like Moore before him, Little Got hits in both at-bats in the first 2 innings. He takes ball 1 from Jerka here. That misses high. 2 balls and no strikes. St. Francis scored 1 in the second. Calumet answered with 2 in the bottom of the inning. So they briefly had the lead, but the Fighting Saints came back with 2 more runs in the top of the third. They've led 3-2 ever since. That flurry of offense over that inning and a half has slowed down. Jerka's trying to put another 0 on the board here, but he misses inside, and it's 3-1 on Darius Little. Ball 4 inside. Darius Little is aboard. First walk issued today by Jacob Jerka. It advances Sean Moore to second base. 2 on, 2 out, and the batter is Nicholas Anderson. And the question is, which pitcher will Anderson be facing? Mahalik is ready down in the bullpen. Jerka's right around 80 pitches for the game now through 3 2/3 innings. He's allowed 10 base runners, but thus far only 2 runs. Calumet has stranded 5 through the first 3. And Jerka would love to make that 7 men left on base through 4 innings. He'll stay in the game to face Nicholas Anderson, who has not yet reached base today. It's the middle of the order that's done the least amount of damage for Calumet. Their 3, 4, and 5 batters specifically have gone a combined 0 for 6. Anderson lined out to left in the first inning, grounded into a fielder's choice in the second. And he bats with 2 on and 2 out in the fourth. First pitch to Nicholas Anderson is taken for strike 1. After the mound visit there, it's probably a good bet that this will be the last batter that Jacob Jerka sees today one way or another. The 0-1, fly ball into center field, tailing away from Ketchum, but he makes the grab on the move, cutting to his left, and he ends the inning. So once again, Jerka pitches out of trouble. 1 hit in the inning, 1 walk, but no runs. They leave 2. On our way to the 5th, it's still 3-2 Saints. Top of the 5th, Zach Ziborowski back on the mound for Calumet College of St. Joseph. He struggled in the second and third innings, but he looked awfully sharp in the fourth. We'll see if he can carry that into the 5th inning, facing the 2, 3, and 4 batters of St. Francis. Jake Vera, the left-handed hitting left fielder, leads off and takes ball 1 inside. Vera's 1 for 2 with a bunt single today. Saints have not been able to get their leadoff man on base yet. Vera tries to change that as he takes a ball low and away, 2-0. Zaborowski walked his first batter of the game in the fourth inning. He has 2 strikeouts so far today. There's a called strike, 2-1. Saints have 5 hits. 4 of them came in the third inning. That's when they were able to plate 2 and take the lead that they've still got right now. We've seen 14 combined hits in this game, 2 walks and 2 errors. That ball misses inside, 3-1. So through 4 innings, 18 combined base runners. Only 5 runs. Saints have left 4 men on base. The Crimson Wave have stranded 7 so far. Fouled back, 3-2. Zaborowski's had to deal with a lot of base runners, but he's been a little bit more efficient with his pitches than Jacob Jerka has. Jerka closing it on 80 pitches. This will be number 70. And it's a called strike 3. 70th pitch from Zaborowski is his 3rd strikeout pitch of the ball game. Second time he's gotten Vera looking today. And he retires the leadoff batter for the 5th straight inning. It's Luke Ketchum's turn to bat. Ketchum's 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout. He bats for the 3rd time, 1 out, nobody on. Ketchum takes the first pitch outside, ball 1. That breaks into the zone, 1-1 on Ketchum. Eric Maffey waits on deck with the Saints leading by a run. They've led most of the way so far. Calumet briefly took the lead away from them, but the Saints got it back in the next half inning. Ripped out to left field, a base hit for Luke Ketchum. 6th hit of the game for the Fighting Saints. Their first since the 3rd inning. And they once again have a man aboard. First inning of the game went 1-2-3 for Zach Zaborowski. Hasn't had a perfect inning since, although in the 4th, thanks to a caught stealing, he did face the minimum. Eric Maffey is 0 for 2 with a run scored. He bats for the 3rd time. And he takes the first pitch from Zaborowski outside for ball 1. As I was saying, first 4 batters of the game were all retired by Zaborowski. Runner on the move here, called strike, throw to second, not in time. Luke Ketchum steals second base. 1-1 on Maffey, and there's a man in scoring position for St. Francis. Since those first 4 batters were set down, 9 out of 17 have reached. So the Saints have better than a .500 on base percentage since the first inning. Trying to add to it here as Maffey also tries to add to the run total. Big swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Slow breaking ball that danced over the outside corner. Maffey loaded up on it, but couldn't make contact. One ball, 2 strikes, a base hit could double the lead. Ball high, 2-2. Saints are making Zaborowski work this inning. Couple of long at-bats here. Vera's ended with a strikeout. But Ketchum singled, and now Maffey has worked the count to 2-2. Luke Ketchum just stole his 6th base of the year to make it to second. Maffey tries to drive him in, but he goes fishing for strike 3. Chased one well out of the zone. As Jacob St. Marie applies the tag for the second out of the inning. Ketchum still stuck over at second base for the moment. And it's up to Brian Hidalgo to try to get him in. Hidalgo is 1 for 2, but he's been on base twice today. Singled in the 3rd, reached on an error in the 2nd. He has knocked one run in, and he has scored another. First pitch to Brian Hidalgo. Bounced foul down the third baseline. Strike one. Close game. Neither team has led by more than a run through the first 4+ innings. I've said it a lot, but for the amount of base runners we've had today, it's a bit of a surprise. It's still just 3-2. Ball upstairs, 1-1. St. Francis's 4 runners left on base so far have included 3 in scoring position. If Zborowski can get this out, it'll be the 4th man he has stranded in scoring position. Ball outside off the glove of St. Marie, but he keeps it nearby. Ketchum cannot advance. Hidalgo's ahead in the count now, 2-1. If he reaches, John McGuire, who's had a perfect game so far, would bat to keep this 5th inning alive. Zborowski sets for the 2-1. Big swing and a miss. Zborowski's gotten some big cuts from St. Francis hitters this inning. Ended up striking out Maffey, who was a little over-aggressive. And I will see if Hidalgo shortens up a bit with 2 strikes on him. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a runner at second. Zborowski gets the sign and sets. Here's the left-hander's 2-2. Fouled off and out of play. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hidalgo will see a 6th pitch. th pitch of the inning for Zach Zborowski. Every at-bat this inning has been a real battle. Popped up right side. This one will stay in fair territory, I think. Maury Garrett over on top of the line makes the catch. It was a fair ball, but Hidalgo is retired on the pop-out. And the inning comes to a close. St. Francis does not score. They get a hit and a stolen base, but they leave Luke Ketchum at second. Halfway through this game, 3-2, St. Francis leads. Bottom 5, down by a run. Calumet comes to bat against a new St. Francis pitcher. Sean Mahalik makes the appearance for the 12th time this year, team high. He's 1-1 with a 4.84 ERA. In 22 1/3 innings pitched, he's allowed 12 runs, 11 of them earned on 17 hits with 15 strikeouts and 9 walks. His first pitch is hit on the ground by Matchnick over to the right side, off the glove of Maliska. McGuire picks it up and throws to first for the out. So it'll go 3-4-1 on the putout. Matchnick is retired on the first pitch of the 5th inning. Good start for Mahalik. Matchnick is now 0 for 3. And Gabriel Quinones will bat with 1 out and nobody on. Quinones, the number 5 hitter, right fielder, is 0 for 2. He's flown out and grounded out. Mahalik's first pitch to him hits the top part of the zone, strike 1. Final numbers on the starting pitcher. 4 innings for Jacob Jerka today. He allowed 2 runs, both of them earned. Quinones takes strike 2. 9 hits. He walked 1. Struck out just 1 batter. And he will not factor in the decision today as Quinones takes a ball, 1-2. Didn't go the requisite 5 innings needed for a win, but he leaves with the lead, so he will not lose either. 1-2. Swing, gonna miss, strike 3, 2 down. Just the second time a Crimson Wave hitter has struck out today. Sean Mahalik has his first. And now he can get the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for St. Francis pitchers if he can retire Bubba Davenport. Davenport is 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout. He takes a ball outside. It was a tough 4-inning outing for Jacob Jerka today. All in all, though, he leaves having been pretty productive. 2 runs in 4 innings, he'll take it. There's a fly ball into center field. Luke Ketchum chases it into right center and makes the catch. A quick 1-2-3 inning, first one of those today for a St. Francis pitcher. And we'll go to the 6th. 3-2, the St. Francis lead. (3-2), St. Francis leads Calumet St. Joe's as we get set to start the 6th inning. Terry Bonadonna with you here through the USF Sports Network. St. Francis playing at their home field, but as the visiting team today. So they bat in the top of the 6th with John McGuire, Hector Carrillo, and Alex Milcars set to take their 3rd chance each against Zach Ziborowski, who misses for the first ball of the inning. Ziborowski has retired the leadoff man each time he's gone out there today, looking to make himself 6 for 6 in that category. Something's got to give here, though, because he has not retired John McGuire, who takes ball 2. McGuire's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles, one of them for an RBI. Lefty-righty, the 2-0. Called strike 1. Today's starting pitchers, Ziborowski and Jerka, both came in with ERAs well over 10. So from that standpoint, it's been a pitcher's duel today. Strike called over the inside corner, 2-2. Just 5 runs scored through 5 innings combined. But of course, both pitchers have had to deal with a lot more adversity than the score would indicate. Ball outside, 3-2. Still, it's been a well-pitched game by Zborowski today. Came in with an ERA well over 16, 16.78. And he's allowed just the 3 runs, only 2 of them earned through 5 innings. Payoff pitch. McGuire fouls it to the right side. Still 3-2. Julian Santoyo, the freshman, is throwing in the bullpen down the left field line. Zborowski's day is likely nearing an end. He's over 80 pitches for the afternoon. Another 3-2. And we'll see another 3-2 as McGuire fouls it to the left. The Saints haven't scored since the 3rd inning, but they have been making Zborowski work since then. This is the 8th pitch of this sequence. Soft liner left field and down for a base hit. So McGuire remains perfect. Zborowski does not against leadoff batters. First time Saints have had a runner on base with nobody out. McGuire 3 for 3, and Hector Carrillo will face, it appears, a new pitcher. No signal has been made to the bullpen just yet, but Brian Nowakowski is walking out to the mound. He grabs the ball from his left-hander, and he calls on a new pitcher. I'll tell you all about him in just a moment. I'll step aside for now. Top of the 6th, 3-2, St. Francis leads. (3-2) St. Francis over Calumet. Top 6, runner at first, and there's a new pitcher in the ballgame for the Crimson Wave. It is right-hander Julian Santoyo making his 5th appearance. 0-1 with a 12.86 ERA this year. In 7 innings, he's allowed 15 runs, 10 of them earned on 11 hits, with 6 strikeouts and 6 walks. His first pitch is bunted foul by Hector Carrillo. Came in on Carrillo's hands there. Kept the bat out and bunted it foul to the right side. So it's strike 1. John McGuire's the man at first base. McGuire singled off of Zach Zborowski, who departs after 5+ innings pitched. McGuire's base hit chases Zborowski from the game. Carrillo bunts it back to the pitcher. Santoyo throws to first and gets the out. McGuire advances to second base on the play. It's a successful sacrifice. Here's Alex Milcars with an RBI chance. Milcars is 0 for 2. He brought home a run in the second inning when he reached on an error. No RBI for it. But it did get the scoring started today. He's trying to keep the scoring going here as he pops one up foul and out of play. Just a few rows behind the first base dugout. Strike one on Milcars. 231 hitter coming in. This is his 13th start of the year. He is the DH in today's game for the Fighting Saints. Catcher Jake Murta's on deck. Santoyo's 0-1. Strike called, 0-2. You'd figure the Saints would have at least 2 chances to get this run in with only 1 out. Nobody at first base, so barring something weird, we won't see a double play. Milcar's trying not to worry about Jake Murta on deck, though. He wants to get this run in himself. He's behind in the count, 0-2. Takes one in the dirt for a ball. Taking off for third base. McGuire dives in safely. Good base running from John McGuire. The ball did not get too far away from Jacob St. Marie. But McGuire was off immediately as that ball was in the dirt. St. Marie played it well, but couldn't get the out. Milcars chases one outside for strike 3. Big strikeout for Julian Santoyo, his 7th of the season in 7 1/3 innings pitched. 5th time a Fighting Saint hitter has struck out today. And now it'll be up to Jake Murta to try to get this insurance run in the top of the 6th inning. Murta is 0 for 1 with a walk. Infield able to back up for Calumet. They were in on just 1 pitch. Ball in the dirt. McGuire thought about coming home, but this time he does not risk it. He dives back to third base rather. 1-0 on Murta. I think that ball hit Murta on the bounce. It deflected off of the chest of the catcher Jacob St. Marie and then ricocheted off to the left. So McGuire took off immediately because it looked like that ball was going to get away. But I think after it hit the catcher, it hit the hitter and stayed right near the plate. So McGuire would have been out by a mile if he had challenged it. Ball low, 2-0. Good work by St. Marie on both the first 2 pitches of this at-bat. Santoyo's been working down. St. Marie's made a couple of nice stops to keep the runner at third base. McGuire led off the inning with a single, moved to second on a sacrifice bunt, and to third on a wild pitch. Ball up and in, 3-0. If Murta reaches base, Meliska will bat and potentially try to get this run in. 7 hits in the ballgame now for St. Francis. Calumet's got 9. The 3-0. Strike 1 called. Murta is the only St. Francis hitter to have drawn a walk today. Tried to get a second one right there, but the umpire disagreed with his assessment of the pitch. And there's strike 2 called. So Murta has not taken the bat off his shoulders on the first 5 pitches of the at-bat. See what he's looking for on a full count offering from Julian Santoyo. Working quickly on the mound. Santoyo right back into the windup. Murta fists it to the right side. Backhanded play by the first baseman Davenport. He tosses over to the pitcher covering the bag. And Santoyo steps on first to end the inning. Saints get a leadoff single. They get John McGuire all the way to third base, but leave him there. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th. Calumet comes to bat trailing by a run. 3-2. St. Francis has held the lead ever since the top of the third inning. No one has scored since. Calumet will try to change that in the bottom of the sixth with their bottom of the order. Joseph Selby, Jacob St. Marie, and Maury Garrett due up. Selby bats for the third time, first against Sean Mahalik, and takes ball one outside. Mahalik was good in his first inning of work, 1-2-3. Tired the side on just 7 pitches. This is his second inning out there, and he throws strike one to Joseph Selby, 1-1. Selby singled and scored in the second inning. Grounded into a third inning ending double play. 1-1 is grounded sharply up the middle for a base hit. Second hit of the game for Selby, and the tying run is aboard with nobody out in the bottom of the sixth. Here's Jacob St. Marie. St. Marie played a big part in the score remaining 3-2 after the top of the sixth inning. A couple of good blocks on pitches in the dirt. Kept John McGuire over at third base when he was threatening to come in to score. Now St. Marie tries to get it done at the plate. He takes strike one over the outside corner. Good offensive game so far for the .267 hitting catcher, Jacob St. Marie. Singled and scored in the second. Singled again in the fourth. Saints thought he'd be bunting with the runner at first here in the sixth, and he is bunting now down the first base line. Picked up by Mahalik, who flips over to first base for the out. 1-3 on the sacrifice. Selby, the tying run, into second base. Here's Maury Garrett. Garrett is a .250 hitter for the season. He's got a hit and an RBI. 1 for 2 today. Chance at another RBI right here. Tying run at second. Garrett takes a strike. Jacob St. Marie came up with a runner at first base. Nobody out. Didn't show bunt on the first pitch. But he did get the bunt sign on the 0-1 offering. Got the runner into scoring position. Now it's up to Garrett to get him in. He chops it to third. Garrett will not get him in as the throw goes over to first base from Carrillo on time for out number 2. Now it's up to the top of the order. Not a bad guy to leave it to. Sean Moore has been on base twice today. He's already got 1 RBI. But they need a base hit here with a runner at second and 2 down. Selby led off with a single, but has advanced just 90 feet since. Mahalik's first pitch, high for ball 1. Sean Mahalik's looked good since coming in. He's given up just the 1 single to the 6 batters that he's faced. He's working quickly. He's throwing strikes. He's been getting quick outs. The 1-0. Ball inside, 2-0. Darius Little is on deck. If Moore reaches base but doesn't get the run in, Little will have the opportunity to tie it. Strike over the outside corner, 2-1. Calumet scored 2 runs on 5 consecutive hits in the bottom of the second inning. They haven't scored since. They've had a lot of opportunities. 7 men left on base so far. Mahalik's trying to make it 8. Strike called, 2-2. 4 of the 7 left on base have been in scoring position. They got a man into scoring position with only 1 out here in the 6th, but they're 1 strike away from ending the inning without any runs. Mahalik's 2-2 to Moore. Ground ball right to the second baseman. McGuire down to 1 knee, fields it and throws to first, and the 6th inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, and a man left on base. We go to the 7th. 3-2 Saints. Top of the order for St. Francis in the top of the 7th inning. Saints lead 3-2. A lot of offense early in this game. Nothing for a while now. A lot of goose eggs up on the scoreboard. Neither side has scored since the top of the 3rd inning. We'll see if St. Francis can create a little distance against Julian Santoyo. Here in the 7th, Nate Maliska leads things off and takes a strike over the outside corner. Maliska is 0 for 3, 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Leadoff hitter for St. Francis came in hitting .321 for the season. Lined out to the left field side, but just foul. It's 0-2. Julian Santoyo's in his 2nd inning of work. He came in with a runner at first base and nobody out in the 6th, and he did his job. Retiring 3 in a row and not allowing that runner to come around to score. McGuire made it as far as 3rd base, but couldn't come home. Inside on Maliska, 1-2. Santoyo is the first relief pitcher being used in this series. First 2 games of this 3-game set, Calumet starter went the distance. Strike 3 called over the outer edge. Maliska goes down looking. Second strikeout for Maliska today, and it's the 2nd strikeout for Montoyo as well. He's fanned 2 of the first 4 batters that he's faced. He's retired all of them. And now he'll go toe-to-toe with Jake Vera with 1 out and nobody on. First pitch to Vera is taken for strike 1. Santoyo firing strikes early on in this appearance. Working very quickly up there. Right-hander right back into the windup. Ball outside, 1-1. Neither of those complete game performances on Friday went 9 innings. Game 1 was a 7-inning contest. Game 2 went only 8. Swing and a miss, 1-2. The game went 9. The pitcher went only 8. His team fell in the top of the 9th inning. 1-2. Swing and a miss. That's dropped by the catcher, St. Marie. He gathers it and throws it down to first. And there are 2 outs in the inning. 3 strikeouts now for Santoyo, 2 in a row. Here's Luke Ketchum. Well, if Santoyo is any indication, maybe Brian Nowakowski should go to his bullpen more often. He has been awfully sharp today. Tough challenge here, though. Ketchum is a .366 batter who's got a couple of safeties already today. He takes strike 1. Since entering the game, Santoyo has faced 6 hitters. He's gotten ahead of them with strike 1 in all but 1 case. Ground ball up the middle, plenty of room up the middle, and Ketchum has an easy single into center. Not a hard hit ground ball there, but Calumet left a gaping hole around second base, so Ketchum gets aboard on a single, his 3rd hit of the game. It's the 8th hit for St. Francis. It's the 17th hit between these 2 teams combined. Make that the 18th hit between these 2 teams combined. Every one of them has been a single. No extra base hits today. Strike 1 called on Maffey, which explains why there have been 18 hits and only 5 runs scored. Sometimes you need to move more than 1 base at a time. Santoyo sets for the 0-1. A bouncing ball to the right side of the infield, picked up by the pitcher, and Santoyo carries it all the way to the base. Steps on it himself to end the inning. 1 unassisted to put St. Francis away in the 7th. Time to stretch here at Dooley Health and Care Field. St. Francis leads Calumet St. Joe's 3-2. 2, 3, and 4 due up for Calumet. Bottom of the 7th inning. So far, the Crimson Wave haven't been able to generate much offense against St. Francis's reliever, Sean Mahalik, who's out for his 3rd inning of work. Mahalik's first pitch to Darius Little misses outside for ball 1. St. Francis scored a run in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. Calumet's only offense came in the bottom of the 2nd inning when they scored 2. The score remains 3-2 right now as Little takes a strike. Darius Little has not been retired today. 2 singles and a walk. This is his 4th trip to the plate. And he's on base for the 4th time as he shoots one through the hole on the left side. A leadoff base hit for Little. It's the 4th time in 7 innings today that Calumet has gotten their leadoff man on base. They have not been able to score him in any of the previous 3 instances. We'll see if this one is any different. Darius Little is 3 for 3. And Nicholas Anderson bats with a man on once again. Every time Anderson's been up, there's been a runner on base. That's because he's been following Little all game, and Little hasn't been retired. He takes off on the first pitch. It's a called strike. Throw to second. Not in time. Close play. John McGuire can't believe that Little was called safe at second base. It was a good jump from Darius Little. Perfect throw from Murda, but just apparently a hair late. 7th stolen base for Little this year. He has not been caught. 0-1 count. And now Anderson has the opportunity to advance the tying run to 3rd base as he takes the ball. 1-1. Calumet's had at least 1 base runner in every inning except for the 5th. They've left 8 on base so far. Pickoff attempt to second base, not in time. Nicholas Anderson is a .320 hitter. Leads his team in RBIs by a wide margin. The Saints had the corner infielders in looking for the bunt. But with their leading run producer up there, Calumet looks like they're going to let him swing away. Try to get this run home himself. Swing and a miss, 1-2. If he can't do it, Matchnick will try next. If he can do it, Matchnick will bat next anyway. Bottom of the 7th inning, a 1-run lead for St. Francis. It's in jeopardy. 1-2 pitch. Ground ball to 3rd. Nice play by Carrillo to stick it in the glove. He throws it across the diamond and gets the first out. Little stays at second base. Big first out for Mahalik and company. Nice play by Carrillo. A little bit of a tough hop. Kind of got him caught in between, but he was able to smother that ball anyway. And Matchnick will bat with 1 out and 1 on. He's 0 for 3. This is the 2nd time he's faced Mahalik today. Sean Mahalik got him to ground out to first base his first time up. Ball 1 to start the cleanup hitter off. Matchnick is 2nd on the team with 16 RBIs this year. Anderson's got 25 of them. There's a fly ball into center field. Well hit, but playable for Luke Ketchum, who backs up and makes the grab. Little tags from second and advances to 3rd base standing up. So for the first time since the 2nd inning, Calumet's got a runner at 3rd base, but there are 2 outs now. It's up to Gabriel Quinones to try to get him in. Again, 8 runners have been left on base already by Calumet today. After the leadoff single here in the 7th, you know they'd be very frustrated to leave a 9th. They got Little into scoring position with nobody out. Quinones takes strike 1. He's 0 for 3. 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order for Calumet today have gone a combined 0 for 11. Strike called, 0-2. They've had a lot of base runners today, but it's hard to score a lot of runs when your primary run producers aren't getting on. Down to their last strike of the inning. Swing and a miss, and Mahalik gets out of it. Just like St. Francis last inning, Calumet here in the 7th gets their leadoff man on, but strands him at third base. And with just 2 innings to play, the score remains St. Francis 3, Calumet 2. Top of the 8th inning, St. Francis have been clutching onto this 3-2 lead ever since the 3rd. Both teams have threatened to add to our runs total on several occasions. Neither team has been able to do it. St. Francis has stranded 7 runners on base. Calumet St. Joe's has left 9. Ball 1 from Santoyo to Hidalgo. Brian Hidalgo bats for the 4th time, 1 for 3 with an RBI single. He's also reached on an error and scored a run. He flies this ball into deep left center field. Long run back for Sean Moore and Darius Little. Little makes the grab deep in the alley for out number 1. Well hit ball by Hidalgo, but it stayed in the air seemingly forever. And Little was able to get under it. Santoyo came out of the bullpen in the 6th inning. He's retired 7 of the 8 batters he's faced. Now he gets his stiffest test yet, John McGuire, who's been perfect today. McGuire takes ball 1 high. 3 for 3 in the game with an RBI. John McGuire takes a strike. It's 1-1. McGuire's single to lead off the 6th inning chased the starting pitcher, Zach Ziborowski, from the contest. It's been Santoyo ever since. McGuire loops it into left on another base hit. He's 4 for 4. And John McGuire is a 1-out base runner for the Fighting Saints. Here's Hector Carrillo. Carrillo has not reached base yet today. He's 0 for 2. Last time up, he dropped down a sacrifice bunt. Not likely to be doing that here with 1 out already in the inning. Ball 1 outside on Carrillo. That's a big runner over at first base, though. St. Francis has had at least 1 base runner in every inning except for the 1st. Likewise, Calumet has only been set down in order 1 time today. That was in the 5th. Rubber match of a 3-game series here. Calumet took the opener 4-0. St. Francis took game 2, 3-2. Trying to do the same thing here today. Strike called, 1-1. Actually, if they could win like 9 or 10-2, I'm sure they'd take it. But they've got a 3-2 lead right now, and it's late. So if they can just hold on to this as the final score, the Fighting Saints would be plenty happy with it. Fouled away, 1-2. Alex Milkars stands on deck. McGuire's at first base after his 4th single of the ball game. 9 hits in the game now for St. Francis. They've all been singles. They've had 12 total base runners. Ball high, 2-2. 9 hits, just 1 walk issued today by Calumet pitching. Saints have had 2 guys reach on errors. Two balls and 2 strikes on Carrillo. Fly ball right field foul and out of play. Hits the light tower down the right field line. Still 2-2. Pickoff throw over to first. McGuire dives back to the bag safely. Busy week for St. Francis. They play at home again tomorrow, Friday, and then on the road for 2 games on Saturday. All of that, of course, is weather permitting. 2-2. Strike 3 called. Carrillo goes down looking, 2 down. 4th strikeout for Julian Santoyo in just 2 2/3 innings. Here's Milkars. I've always thought the spring sports schedule is more of a suggestion than anything else. Games are rarely played as scheduled. Usually by the time you get to April, things start to sort themselves out a little bit, but maybe not this year. It's been a cold spring. Grounder foul from Milkars, strike 1. As of now, the forecast for tomorrow indicates that there shouldn't be any issues with getting that game in for the Fighting Saints. 3 o'clock here at home. It'll be cold as usual. Upper 40s most likely, but the sun should be out. Nothing in 1. Santoyo sets. Pitch misses outside. 1-1. Alex Milkars is 0 for 3 today. Big at bat back in the second inning, though. He reached on an error in which a run scored. Last time these two faced each other, Santoyo struck him out in the 6th inning. This is Santoyo's 3rd inning. He misses high, 2-1. St. Francis is 6 outs away from picking up their 2nd consecutive victory. But Calumet has made things very difficult on them each time they've been out in the field. So the Saints are looking for insurance with just 4 outs of their own to play with. Fouled away, the count evens up on the number 8 batter. DH Alex Milkars, 2-2. There is some action in the St. Francis bullpen right now. Sean Mahalik has been very good for 3 innings. Quinn McGuire warming up right now. Popped up, shallow right field. Tough play for Calumet. It drops for a base hit. Heading to third base, McGuire dives in safely. Now Milkars caught between first and second, and he's tagged out. Got a little over-aggressive rounding first base there. So Milkars gets a base hit, but he's thrown out on the base paths to end the inning. St. Francis, despite a pair of hits, does not score. We head to the bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Saints. Bottom of the 8th inning. Calumet's running out of time, but they trail by just 1 run. They'll send Davenport, Selby, and St. Marie up this inning against a new St. Francis pitcher, right-handed sophomore Quinn McGuire. Now McGuire's first pitch is over for strike 1. McGuire this season has appeared in 8 games. This is his 7th as a reliever. He's 2-1 with a 6.46 ERA. Ball 1 outside to even the count. 15 1/3 innings so far this year for McGuire. He's allowed 12 runs, 11 earned on 17 hits, with 15 strikeouts and 9 walks. He is the 3rd St. Francis pitcher today. Fouled away, out of play. 1-2. Jacob Jerka started the game today for the Fighting Saints. Jerka scuffled his way through 4 innings, but got out of them pretty successfully, allowing only 2 runs, despite 9 hits. Fouled away, still 1-2. And then Sean Mahalit came in. He pitched 3 innings. He was very good. Just 2 hits, no walks, no runs. He struck out 2 in his 3 innings of work, and he is in line for the victory right now. It'd be his 2nd of the year if this lead holds. Fouled off to the right side once again by Davenport, out of play. Bubba Davenport is 1 for 3. He reached on an infield single in the 3rd inning. Sixth pitch coming up from McGuire. Line softly to the left side. Backhanded on 1 hop by Hidalgo. Long throw to first. Not in time. So Bubba Davenport picks up his 2nd infield single of the game. And the tying run is on base to lead off an inning for the 3rd straight time for Calumet. In the 6th, they stranded him at 2nd base. In the 7th, they stranded him at 3rd. We'll see what happens here in the 8th inning as Davenport departs, replaced by pinch runner. That's Nino Barbosa pinch running for him. Here's Joseph Selby. Bubba Davenport picks up his 2nd hit of the ball game. Both infield singles. It's not often you see a guy named Bubba get 2 infield hits in the same game. Bunted first base side by Selby. He advances Barbosa to 2nd base as McGuire flips over to first and gets the out. 1 away, and for the 3rd straight inning, Calumet gets the tying run into scoring position. The Crimson Wave has stranded 9 runners today. McGuire would like to make it at least 10 here. St. Marie steps in, takes strike 1. Jacob St. Marie, the number 8 batter, is 2 for 2 today with a run scored and a sacrifice bunt. There's a called strike, 0-2. Popped foul off to the right side, out of play. Still 0-2 on St. Marie. The bottom of the order has done great work today for Calumet. I've talked a lot today about how much the middle of the order has struggled. Anderson, Matchnick, and Quinones, the 3, 4, and 5 batters, are a combined 0 for 12. 6 through 9 in the batting order, though. Combined 7 of 12. As St. Marie reaches base, he's hit by a pitch. On an 0-2 count, he's hit in the back of the leg by Quinn McGuire. And Calumet not only has the tying run on base, but now the would-be leading run as well. Jaden Ryan comes in as the courtesy runner. Barbosa was the courtesy runner for St. Marie earlier. And he's already in the game now at 2nd base. So Ryan becomes the new courtesy runner for Jacob St. Marie, the catcher. And we'll get a pinch hitter for Maury Garrett. So a new batter in the 9 spot in the batting order here. Ryan Kalinowski, senior catcher, steps in, left-handed batter, with a chance to put his team in the lead. Kalinowski pinch hitting for Maury Garrett Jr. here. Takes ball 1. On the season, he's hitting .263. He's 5 of 19. 1 home run, 16 RBIs. Strike called, 1-1. Despite getting a lot of base runners in this game, this is the first time that Calumet's had 2 on at the same time since the 4th inning. They've been scattered of late. Fly ball into left field, down the line, long run. Jake Vera still coming as he dives. He can't come up with it. Everybody advances. Nobody more than 90 feet, though. Nino Barbosa was playing it very safe at second base. He wanted to tag up. And so when the ball dropped as Vera dove and couldn't come up with it, Barbosa was only able to advance 1 base. It's a break for St. Francis. Kalinowski comes up with the base hit. Second hit of the inning for Calumet, and they've got him loaded with only 1 down for the very dangerous Sean Moore. Maury Garrett is back in the game to run for himself. So Kalinowski did his job. He got on base, and now Garrett's back in to resume his position in the 9 spot in the batting order. It is Garrett at first, Ryan at second, and Barbosa at third. The latter 2 are both pinch runners. Actually, all 3 are pinch runners. Garrett is, though, pinch running for his own spot in the batting order. Base is loaded, only 1 down. Sean Moore is 2 for 4 today. Couple of singles, he's already got an RBI. Can he bring 1 more run in to tie the game? Corner infielders are in for the Saints. Ground ball past the pitcher's mound. It's picked up by the second baseman McGuire. He applies the tag but throws to first late, and a run comes in to score. We're tied at 3. Just under the glove of Quinn McGuire. If he had been able to pull that one in, it almost certainly would have been an inning-ending double play. But as soon as it got by him, McGuire had no chance to turn 2. Moore runs far too well to have the opportunity to double him up on that play. So McGuire gets the out 4 unassisted on the fielder's choice, but an RBI for Moore, his 2nd of the game, and his 16th this year. And they're at the corners now. Darius Little, with 2 outs, has a chance to put his team ahead. He takes strike 1. Ryan is at third base. Little takes another strike, 0-2. Ryan represents the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 8th. Moore is at first, not nearly as important. Ground ball, third base, picked up by Carrillo. Throws to first, inning over. So Calumet gets 1 run to tie it. They miss out on an opportunity for more as they leave 2 more men on base. And as we go to the 9th, the Crimson Wave are back in this thing, tied up at 3. Back to work for the St. Francis offense here in the top of the ninth. They had led this game ever since the third inning. But Calumet has come back to tie it at 3. Jake Murda leads off the ninth with a grounder to short. Joseph Selby fires to first. 1 pitch, 1 out. Calumet's run in the bottom of the 8th inning was their first since the 2nd. It makes it a 3-3 tie, and now Nate Maliska steps in for St. Francis to try to mount a 1-out rally to try to reclaim the lead. Strike called on Maliska. 0 for 4 today, a couple of groundouts, a couple of strikeouts. Second at bat against Julian Santoyo today. Ball 1 to even the count. Santoyo's been one of the biggest contributors to Calumet in this game. Came in with a 3-2 deficit and has held it there long enough for his team to come back and tie it. Strike called, 1-2. Santoyo came in with an ERA in the neighborhood of 12. And he's thrown 3 1/3 shutout innings. Ground ball left side. Sliding stop in the hole by the shortstop Selby. The throw to first is on the mark. 2 down. Selby had a lot of defensive problems earlier in this game. He committed 2 errors. Nearly had a third if Davenport hadn't made a really nice pick over at first base. But here this inning, he's been perfect. 2 throws that were right at the chests of Davenport. And that time it came at the end of a sliding play from the hole. Strike 1 on the swing from Jake Vera. Vera's 1 for 4 with a single and 3 strikeouts today. Lofted down the left field line. Long run for Sean Moore into foul territory. Can't make the play as he leaps over the side wall and onto the berm. He was going after that one hard the whole way. It landed in the bullpen on the field of play, but he was about 2 steps shy of it as the ball hit the ground. Didn't want to run into the wall. It was dangerous for the legs. His momentum carried him straight there, so he just leaped over it. Only about a 4-foot wall, maybe a little bit less than that, actually. Maybe 3.5 feet down the line. So he pulled out his best hurdling moves, and now he's back in position out in left field. And we're ready for the 0-2 pitch to Jake Vera. Outside, ball 1. Fouled back by Vera. He stays alive. He'll see a 5th pitch in this at-bat. 2 outs. Nobody on base after back-to-back groundouts began the inning for Santoyo. For as good as he's been, this would be his first 1-2-3 inning if he can get it. One hopper back to the mound. Looks like it will be a perfect frame for Santoyo as he tosses over to first, and he ends the top half of the 9th. Calumet's got a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up. We're tied 3-3. Bottom of the ninth inning, 3-3. Calumet hasn't held the lead since the second inning. They came back to tie it, though, in the bottom of the eighth, and now a chance to win it in the ninth. Anderson, Matchnick, and Quinones due up against Quinn McGuire on for his second inning of work. McGuire's first pitch to Nicholas Anderson misses inside, ball one. McGuire got credit for the blown save after giving up the run in the eighth inning, but trying to get us now to extras. 1-0 on Anderson, who doesn't have a hit today. Ball high, 2-0. I've talked about it a lot today. The top and the bottom of the order for Calumet has done their jobs. The middle of the order, not so much. Anderson, Matchnick, and Quinones, typically a trio that you'd expect a lot of production from, have gone a combined 0 for 12. Ball low, 3-0. None of them has reached base yet. Meanwhile, the 1 and 2 hitters, 6, 7, 8, and 9, so everybody outside of the heart of the order, has combined to go a remarkable 13 of 22 at the plate. Filed away by Anderson. Makes the count 2 and 2. I had it at 3-0, but it was 2 and 1, so a 2 and 2 count now on Nicholas Anderson. McGuire trying to record a leadoff out. The leadoff batter hasn't been retired since the fifth inning. Ball 3 outside. The count's gone full. McGuire didn't walk anybody in his first inning out there. He did hit a batter. Calumet got a couple of hits to score a run. Popped up shallow center field. Hidalgo goes back, and so does McGuire. John McGuire makes the grab just behind second base. The leadoff man is set down, one away. And here's Michael Matchnick. He's 0 for 4 today. The heart of the order now 0 for 13 combined. Ball 1 outside. These offenses have mostly been quiet since early in the game. But somebody will have to step up and play the hero here for one of these two teams. Calumet, so far in today's game, has stranded 11 base runners. St. Francis has left 8 men on. The home plate umpire was signaling something to the St. Francis dugout. Now he's writing something. I don't know if he was issuing a warning. He maybe heard a little bit too much about the strike zone. It's 1-0 on Matchnick, and we're ready to go. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Quinn McGuire is the third pitcher for St. Francis today. The starter, Jerka, allowed 2 runs in 4 innings. Mahalik did not allow a run in 3 innings. Ball low, 2-1. McGuire so far has given up 1 run and 1 1/3. 3 runs, 10 hits, no errors for St. Francis. 3, 13, and 2 for Calumet. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Matchnick has been overwhelmed by a couple of high fastballs in this at-bat. And now McGuire's 1 strike away from sending him back to the bench. 2-2. Ground ball to short. Another chance for Hidalgo. The throw to first. 2 down. Here's Gabriel Quinones. Quinones is 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. That's his last 2 at-bats. Now he's just trying to keep this inning alive. Davenport is on deck. St. Francis is banking on extras. 1 hopper to short. Hidalgo flings it to first base, and we are going to the 10th inning. Quick out recorded, a 1-2-3 inning for Quinn McGuire. At the end of 9, we're still tied 3-3. Top of the 10th inning for St. Francis. Luke Ketchum, Eric Maffey, and Brian Hidalgo are due up against Julian Santoyo. Santoyo has pitched 4 shutout innings so far. St. Francis hasn't scored since the 3rd. They've gotten 5 men on base since then, but haven't been able to plate them. Luke Ketchum will try to start the extra inning rally here as he takes ball 1. Ketchum is 3 for 4 in the game. He's 1 for 1 against Santoyo. 23 hits between these two teams combined today. They've all been singles. Weak grounder left side, charging at the third baseman. Matchnick makes a quick throw to first in time. 1 away, 4 straight retired, all on groundouts. And Santoyo will face Eric Maffey for the second time. Maffey is 0 for 4 with a run scored. Grounded out to the pitcher his last time up. First pitch swinging. He bounces it to third base. That's a foul ball. Strike 1. Maffey entered play today, leading St. Francis in on-base percentage, slugging percentage, home runs, RBIs. Runs scored. He scored his 26th of the season today. But he's had a quiet day at the plate so far. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Santoyo looking for his 5th strikeout of the game. Maffey spoils the 0-2 pitch, fouling it away to the right side. Santoyo has scarcely been in trouble since he came in. Back in the 8th inning, he gave up a pair of singles. Saints got a man at third base. Ball down low, 1-2, but that was not really a difficult situation for Santoyo because Alex Milkars, who got the second single, was then thrown out between first and second base on the play. So they didn't actually have an at-bat with a runner at third. Ball 2, the count is even. If Maffey reaches base, it's a big deal for a lot of reasons. Most obviously, he would represent the go-ahead run in the top of the 10th inning. 2-2. Popped up, shallow center field. Garrett backs up on it and makes the catch. 2 away. So it's a moot point now, but I was going to say that if Maffey reaches, and it's the same now for Brian Hidalgo, it would allow John McGuire to bat this inning. McGuire's been the hottest hitter for St. Francis today. He's 4 for 4. So you'd love to give him a chance with a guy on base here. Hidalgo will try to be that man on base. He's 1 for 4 in the game with an RBI single. Ball low, 1-0. 5 straight have been retired by Santoyo, his best stretch of the game. Ball low, 2-0. There is a right-hander throwing in the Calumet bullpen. St. Francis's bullpen is empty, so Quinn McGuire presumably will come out for the bottom of the 10th. Ball inside, 3-0. Jorge Santos is the pitcher throwing in the bullpen right now for the Crimson Wave as Hidalgo takes a 3-0 pitch for a strike. 2 outs, nobody on base. Santoyo's next one finds the zone. Full count. He hasn't walked anybody yet today. Fell behind Hidalgo 3-0, but he's worked his way back into it. 3-2 is swung on and grounded to short. Selby bobbles it, recovers, throws to first in time. Another 1-2-3 innings. 6 straight Saints have been retired. Bottom of the 10th coming up. Calumet's got another chance to win it. We're tied 3-3. 3-3, we're tied in the bottom of the 10th inning. Quinn McGuire out for his third inning of work. He'll face Davenport, Selby, and St. Marie. These are the same guys that produced a run in the 8th inning that forced extras. And now they'll try to get one in the 10th to win the game and come from behind fashion against the Saints. Strike one on Davenport. It's not a huge come from behind win when you never trailed by more than one run, but they were down by one run for 8 innings. Fly ball into center field, backing Luke Ketchum up. Ketchum reaches that one and makes the catch, one away. I guess they only trailed for 7 innings. They went down in the 2nd and then came back in the 8th. So they were trailing pretty much the whole way. Came back to force extras, but they haven't been able to do anything since getting there. Neither have the Saints. The last 12 batters have been retired in this game. 6 on each side. McGuire hasn't given up a base runner since there was 1 out in the 8th inning. Ball 1 on Joseph Selby. Selby is 2 for 3 today with a couple of singles, a sacrifice bunt, and a run scored. 1-0 pitch. Up and away. 2 balls, no strikes. Holding late leads has been a consistent problem for St. Francis this year. Once again today, they blew one in the 8th inning. Still have a chance to win it. Strike called, 2-1. But they're going to need to get it into the 11th inning. 2-1 pitch. Ground ball right side. McGuire ranges to his left, grabs it, and throws to first. 2 down. Neither McGuire nor Santoyo showing any signs of blinking in the 9th or 10th innings. No hard contact the last 2 frames for either side. No base runners the last 2 innings for either side. Jacob St. Marie bats for the 5th time. Perfect day for him, 2 for 2 with a couple of singles, a sacrifice bunt. He was hit by a pitch his last time up in one of the key at-bats of the game. Strike called, 0-1. 1 out, 1 on in the 8th inning, and St. Marie on an 0-2 count got hit in the back of the leg. That propelled Calumet to the game-tying run. Not this time, though, as he grounds it to short. Hidalgo throws to first, and we're on to the 11th inning. No base runners for either side since the 8th. The last 14 batters combined have been retired. 3-3, we're tied after 10. Top of the 11th. St. Francis, for the 3rd time since this game was tied at 3, will have a chance to reclaim the lead here. John McGuire leads things off, and he takes ball 1 from Julian Santoyo. Santoyo, out of the bullpen, is in his 6th inning of work. And he has allowed just 3 hits and no runs. Downstairs, 2-0. One of the hits he gave up was to McGuire. John McGuire is 4 for 4 today. 3 hits against the starter and 1 against the reliever. Trying to get on base for the 5th time today. He's off to a good start with a 2-0 count. Now he pops it up down the right field line into foul territory, and that's out of play. 2-1. McGuire, Carrillo, and Milcars, 6, 7, and 8. Due up for St. Francis in this 11th inning. Saints led most of this game, withstood a lot of charges from Calumet. Ball high, 3-1. Crimson Wave have left 11 men on base. But they kept knocking at the door and finally pushed through in the bottom of the 8th inning. Called strike 2, the count's full. St. Francis has had 4 hits, actually 5 hits, and 1 walk since they last scored a run. Haven't been able to break through again. Fouled away, and McGuire will see a 7th pitch. Santoyo trying to put him away. He's got 4 strikeouts in the game. Hasn't walked anybody. There's a pop-up behind home plate and into the seats, out of play. Another 3-2. In the dirt, ball 4. St. Francis has their leadoff man on base. McGuire reaches first for the 5th time today. It's just the 2nd walk issued by Calumet pitching today. Again, the 1st for Santoyo. That's the first time the Saints have had their leadoff man on base since the 6th. In that inning, McGuire made it to 3rd with only 1 out, but couldn't score. So now the batter is Hector Carrillo, who has a quick talk with his manager before stepping into the batter's box. One would expect a bunt here. We'll see if that's what Brian Mahalik has in mind. It's certainly what Calumet St. Joseph has in mind. Their 3rd baseman, Michael Matchnick, is already way in on the grass. Carrillo does have 1 sacrifice already today. He's 0 for 3. Matchnick comes in even further at 3rd base as Carrillo pulls the bat back and takes ball 1 high. It's been a long relief outing for Santoyo. This is his 6th inning out there. He's thrown just over 70 pitches in the game. Carrillo again pulls the bat back. This time, though, it's taken for a strike. And the count is 1-1. Matchnick's got to be careful over at 3rd base. He's charging hard. He's in a dangerous spot if Carrillo does elect to swing away. Shows bunt early this time. Drops it down. 1st base side, picked up by the pitcher, and Santoyo throws to 1st for the out. So a sacrifice, 1-3. And again, the go-ahead run is in scoring position. Here's Alex Milcars. 1 for 4 today. He has singled and reached on an error. He's come up in some big moments in this game. In the 6th, he struck out with McGuire at 3rd base. In the 8th, with McGuire on, he singled. But the Saints were not able to get any runs in that inning. The 4th time that St. Francis has gotten their potential 4th run into scoring position. Can they come up with the big hit this time? Milcars rolls it to the right side. Backhanded stop by Davenport. He flips to Santoyo, covering the bag, 2 down. 1st pitch swinging. Milcars grounds out. He advances McGuire to 3rd base. But there are 2 outs now, and it's up to Jake Murda to get this run in. Murda is 0 for 3. He's walked once. Shadows are creeping in, covering the third base side right now as Murda takes a strike. It's always advantage pitcher when he's in sunlight, the batter's in shadow. Closing in on 5:30 here in the Central Time Zone as Murda fouls it away. And St. Francis is down to their final strike in the top of the 11th inning. In the bottom of the frame, it'll be Garrett, Moore, and Little due to hit for Calumet, a formidable trio. The 0-2. Murda fouls off another one. John McGuire is on third base. McGuire has been on 5 times today. The rest of the offense has not been able to keep pace. The 0-2. Ball outside, 1-2. See a few infielders for Calumet ready to step off towards the dugout after that pitch, but they didn't get the call. Murda still has life trying to get this run in from third. Pass ball or a wild pitch would give St. Francis the lead too. 1-2. Murda strikes out swinging and the inning is over. Another 0 on the scoreboard for Julian Santoyo. And we're headed to the bottom of the 11th, tied at 3. Bottom of the 11th, Calumet's got their third chance to win the game. They tied it at 3 in the 8th. Neither team has scored since. Here in the 11th, it'll be Garrett, Moore, and Little facing Quinn McGuire for the second time each. McGuire is in his 3rd inning of work. Make that his 4th inning of work now. Ground ball up the middle by Garrett. Diving stop by McGuire, but he can't pull the ball in, and Garrett's got an infield single. Even if McGuire had stuck that one in the glove on the dive, I'm not sure he would have had enough time to get to his feet and throw Garrett out at first base. So nice effort from McGuire. But it is a base hit for Maury Garrett Jr. And he represents the winning run over at first base now, his 3rd hit of the game, or 2nd hit rather. He was pinch hit for in the 8th. Kalinowski got a hit. So the 9 spot in the batting order has gone 3 for 5 today. Here's Sean Moore, 2 for 5. He's got 2 of his team's 3 RBIs today. He bunts this one back to the pitcher. McGuire's throw goes to first base, and he gets the out there. It's a sacrifice for Sean Moore, and the winning run is in scoring position with 1 out for Darius Little. Darius Little has been on base 4 times today. He's 3 for 4. 3 singles and a walk. He had a chance to win the game for his team back in the 8th with runners at the corners and 2 outs. He ended up grounding out to end that threat and keeping us tied. And he's intentionally walked here, so he goes on down to first base. 5th time on base today for Little. And Brian Mahalik is rolling the dice that Nicholas Anderson, who has struggled at the plate today, will continue to do so. This is a .320 batter for the season. But he's had a tough time of it in this game, 0 for 5. In fact, the next 3 batters in the order have not reached base once. They're combined 0 for 15. All they need is 1 hit here potentially to win the game. Ball 1 outside. St. Francis was in good position in this game all the way through to the 8th inning. But they weren't able to pull away. They had that 1-run lead. And finally Calumet caught them. And now they've got a chance to score again and go home victorious as Anderson takes a ball inside. This is a home game for Calumet. Being played at St. Francis's home ballpark. But this is a chance for the Crimson Wave to win 2 out of 3 in this series. A discussion here with the home plate umpires. Brian Mahalik pops out of the dugout to talk with them. 2-0 count on Nicholas Anderson. Anderson's got 25 RBIs this year. Number 26 would be the game winner. Man Montgomery is coming into play center field. I don't know if I've ever seen this in my life watching baseball. Not only a defensive switch mid-inning, but mid-at-bat. I don't know if Luke Ketchum was hurt there. I'm not sure what happened. But they've made the change. Montgomery is now playing center field. Ketchum is on the bench. It's 2-0 on Anderson, and there's strike 1 from McGuire. Garrett hit an infield single. He was bunted to second base. Little was intentionally walked, so Little's run doesn't matter. Sets up a double play. Swing and a miss, 2-2 on Anderson. The only people St. Francis is concerned with right now are Garrett at second base. He'd be the winning run. And Anderson in the batter's box. He's the guy trying to get that run in. 2-2. It gets away from the catcher, Murda, all the way to the backstop. And the count goes to 3-2. The double play is no longer in order. And now Anderson doesn't even need a base hit here. He could win this game with a fly ball. Full count on Nicholas Anderson. He popped out to second base last time he faced McGuire. McGuire has only struck out one batter. Actually, hasn't struck out anybody, in his 3 innings. This would be a good time for it. Popped up foul to the right side, out of play. McGuire hasn't pitched poorly. 3 1/3 innings, he's only given up 1 run, but just no margin for error here. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Winning run just 90 feet away. The infield is in, the outfield is in for St. Francis. Another 3-2. Flipped foul once again to the right side. Now that first base is no longer occupied, it's not too likely that Anderson hits into a double play here, meaning if he doesn't get it done, it'll be Michael Matchnick trying next. Anderson's trying to end the game with 1 swing right here. A base hit would do it. Fly ball would likely do it. Foul ball will not, but it will keep him alive. Still 3-2. McGuire tossed a wild pitch a few moments ago. Another one of those would bring home the winning run as well. Garrett at third base runs well. The 4th 3-2 pitch. Line drive in a left center field. That's down for a base hit. And Calumet wins this one 4-3. Nicholas Anderson, the leading run producer on the team, had been 0 for 5. But he comes through when it matters most. And Calumet St. Joseph beats St. Francis by a final score of 4-3. They were down 3-2 in the 8th inning. They came back, tied it up. And then after a few innings of inactivity from both sides, the Crimson Wave come up with the big rally that they needed in the bottom of the 11th inning. So Calumet ends up taking 2 out of 3 in what was a very tightly played series. 2 of the 3 games were just one-run decisions. And the Crimson Wave take game 1 and 3 to come out with a series victory over St. Francis. The scoring in this one started in the 2nd inning. St. Francis struck first. They scored a run thanks to a pair of errors. Their lead didn't last long. Calumet collected 5 consecutive hits in the 2nd inning, but only managed 2 runs out of it. They led 2-1, and that lead didn't last long. St. Francis came back with 2 in the 3rd. They got RBI singles from Hidalgo and McGuire. One of 5 times that McGuire was on base today. And that gave St. Francis a 3-2 lead, which they held all the way into the bottom of the 8th inning. But that's when Calumet came up clutch. They got a 2-out, or rather a 1-out, RBI ground out from Sean Moore to tie the score at 3. And then neither team could get a base runner for the next several innings until finally in the bottom of the 11th, Calumet struck again. Maury Garrett singled, moved to 2nd on a sacrifice bunt, to 3rd on a wild pitch, and then with 1 out and a full count, Nicholas Anderson singled out to left center field to score Garrett and make it a 4-3 final score. So Calumet College of St. Joseph is victorious today by a 4-3 count. They improved to 11-18, 3-5 in conference. St. Francis falls to 8-20. They are now 3-4 in conference play. Winning pitcher Julian Santoyo, absolutely fantastic. 6 shutout innings out of the bullpen. Santoyo improves to 1-1 on the season. Losing pitcher Quinn McGuire, he takes the blown save, so he gives up both the tying and winning runs. McGuire falls to 2-2 this year. That'll do it for today's game. St. Francis is back in action tomorrow afternoon, a 3 o'clock start time against St. Xavier. We'll have the broadcast for you right here, so hopefully you join us for that one. Until then, 4-3, your final score today. Calumet takes out the Fighting Saints. Terry Bonadonna here signing off for the University of St. Francis. Have a good night.